Look, if you had one shot, or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it? Or just let it slip? Yo. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater.
Hello, world. We may be cousins. We may act like brothers. One thing we do know is we know sports. You are now listening to Locked In with Max and Dave.
I love that song. He said one shot. So,
One opportunity.
shooting guards. We're going there, right? We're doing the Mount Rushmore of shooting guards. And if you got that one shot, I think you're going to pass it to Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Am I right, Cuzzo?
I thought you were going to say Max Van Auken, but we can go that route too.
Yeah, Max, you can shoot pretty good, but I don't know about as good as Jordan, though. Come on, Max. But first, we're not going to do a big spiel. We're not going to go into it. I'm not going to tell you about how great the winningtake.com is. I'm not going to tell you that our podcasts are on the site. So let's just get right into it. iTunes. I'm not going to tell you that Locked In with 2 N's is on iTunes. Also on Stitcher Radio. So you can listen to us on iPhones, Android phones, the flip phone, whatever phone you want to listen to us. But let's get right into it. The Mount Rushmore of shooting guards, all time. Top 4 ever, Cuzzo.
But before we get to the Mount Rushmore, we have to break down to the people who didn't make it on Mount
Correct.
Rushmore.
The honorable mentions. Mentions.
It's only right if you do the echo. So
Correct.
we give the people what they want to hear. They love the hypothetical. They love who's the best this, who's the best that. So we're giving it to the people because we're the people's podcast.
Yes, sir.
So let's break it down on who isn't on Mount Rushmore.
Correct. These are all-time great players. They're all going to be Hall of Fame NBA basketball players. Shooting guards. They're unbelievable, but they're just not the top 4. They're not Abraham Lincoln or George Washington.
Okay. Let's
Okay,
go right
so the
into it.
first honorable mention, let's get into it. I'm going to start our native Daytona Beach great, a mainland Buccaneer, Vince Carter. From the University of North Carolina, he got drafted by the Toronto Raptors. And that's before the Toronto Raptors are what the Toronto Raptors are now. They are a winning organization. Say that 4 times fast.
Nope, not trying.
But this is back in the day when they weren't a great team, and Vince Carter elevated them to a playoff stature team. Just what he's done for Toronto, what he's done in the slam dunk contest. He, to me, Michael Jordan will probably always be the greatest in-game dunker, but in a slam dunk contest, nobody is as good or as close to as good as Vince Carter.
Everything you said was right on the money as always. It was correct besides one thing. Vince Carter, let's just set the record straight. He may not be on the Mount Rushmore, but he is number 1 on the Mount Rushmore of all-time dunkers. Whether it's in-game, dunk contest, I don't care what it is. He's been on people's head. He's been on people's necks. His feet have been above the rim. He's jumped over 7-footers. He is the number 1 dunker of all time.
You know who that 7-footer is? Frederick Weiss. Google image it. It was during the Olympics. I watched it live. It was amazing. Vince Carter, but he's done more than that. He's an all-around great player. He was always a scorer. He had a really good mid-range game. He wasn't a great three-pointer back in his day because I think he was so athletic. He didn't really have to be, and the game wasn't the three-point game that it is today. But like all great players, all great people, they adapt. They add to their game, and Vince Carter's became a really good three-point shooter. He's became a good teammate. He's now coming off the bench sometimes. Vince Carter has, took his NBA career to a great level. I think he's really respected around the league.
You hit a huge point, and that is it's different now with the three-point shot. He was exactly what you wanted from a shooting guard when he was in his prime a couple years ago, when it wasn't about the three-point shot. It was about the athleticism. It was about slashing to the rim, finishing above the rim, dunking on people, getting butts in seats. He is what you needed back then. But like you said, all great players adapt to what's happening now. He's developing a three-point shot, and I think what's so underrated about him is his longevity. He is the oldest player in the NBA today, and he's not the player, okay, yeah, he's on our team, happy to have him, he has a good voice in the locker room. He's actually being productive. He's not only productive in the locker room and influencing young, rising stars such as De'Aaron Fox for the Sacramento Kings. You already see him in his ear in the Summer League, which has been fantastic, by the way. But he's producing on the court. He's adding grittiness, toughness. He's hitting that three-point shot. Vince Carter is an all-timer.
I think so. All right, so that's Vince Carter. We gave him his due. We gave him his respect.
I have to interject.
Yes, sir. The floor is yours.
Met the man about 2 or 3 times. He's a real good dude. I have a couple signed autographs in my garage.
Oh.
I was going to go over to his house, but, I transferred schools to play basketball, so I missed that opportunity. But it's okay. I'm a shark.
I've been to his restaurant a couple times. It was pretty good over there by LPGA.
I'm sorry, but I think that restaurant closed, Dave.
Oh, rest in peace. All right, so we're going to another honorable mention, and who would have thought that we would have started the shooting guard Mount Rushmore of NBA history, and we went to one Toronto Raptor to another Toronto Raptor, Tracy McGrady, who is Vince Carter's cousin, and he started his career up in Toronto, just like Vince.
I need to take this one.
The floor is yours.
Tracy McGrady, a.k.a. T-Mac, is probably the most fun and entertaining player to watch. He may not be the most fun to play with. He may not be the most fun to root for at times if you don't want him to play against your team. But Tracy McGrady is a bucket. He is a scoring machine. And I have to shout out Robert. We always talk about this. The clutchest performance of all time was against the San Antonio Spurs. Tracy McGrady scores 13 points in 30 seconds. He hit a 4-point play over Tim Duncan. He was slamming the ball, and he overcame and won. 13 points in 30 seconds. I don't even think people can do that listening on 2K. NBA 2K.
Max, I got a real quick question for you. Off script, like always. That's the locked in way. What's my, what would be my rating in 2K?
Oh, your rating. Here we go.
In my prime now. Come on, in my prime.
In your prime?
Yes, sir.
The Van Auckens are only 99s.
Let's get it. I was hoping for a 98, but I'll take a 99. I love it. Okay.
No, we're the dream team in our primes together. Like if you took, see, we're on different time eras. I feel like I am you now, but you are me if I were you back then.
Wait, this
Does that make sense?
This is sounding like the movie Inception.
I've never seen it.
It's good.
I didn't want to be confusing like the Terminator, but we're the 99s. That's the point of the story.
Go to Blockbuster Video and go rent yourself Inception, folks.
Netflix.
But a couple Tracy McGrady notes that I loved. How about the dunk on Sean Bradley in the postseason, coming off the sideline when he was a Houston Rocket? One thing about Tracy McGrady, he was awesome for the Toronto Raptors for a 4 or 5 year span. And then he went to the Orlando Magic, and he became the best scorer in the league, back-to-back scoring championships. So he was then really, really good for the Orlando Magic. Then he became a Houston Rocket. And him and Yao Ming, they went to multiple playoffs in a row. Like, Tracy, I think he's getting inducted to the Basketball Hall of Fame. Is he a Raptor? Is he a Magic? Is he a Rocket? I'm not sure, but he had an all-time great NBA career.
A couple things. First is it seems like I can relate to all these NBA greats because Sean Bradley is in a picture in my house. My brother took a picture with him. My brother had to stand on a ledge and still wasn't as tall as Sean Bradley. But the thing is, every player that we mention is an all-time great. They were transcendent. They influenced and impacted the game like no other. But there has to be flaws for every player. That's what ranks one above the other. That's why they may not be on Mount Rushmore. So we need to take a look at their weaknesses real quick. Tracy McGrady, we both said it is an all-time great scorer. But the reason why he may not be on the reason why he's not on our Mount Rushmore is because he was like a one-dimensional type player. He looked to score, but he didn't really elevate others around him. He's not known as a winner. He was athletic and did everything that Tracy wanted to do. But like I said, he's not a winner. That's why he's not on my Mount Rushmore.
Okay. I I agree with you. I don't know. Who do you have him comparable to a player in the NBA now?
Ooh, that's another off script.
Off script.
A player today, like now. That's tough. I would say.
I kind of got one.
Yeah, I think I do. I don't know if it's fair, but DeMar DeRozan.
That was mine. Another Toronto
Look
Raptor.
at that. Van Hawkins think alike.
I love it. I just think DeRozan is a really, really like a solid player. I don't think he's ever going to lead the league in scoring like T-Mac done, and I think T-Mac had better handles than him. That's why he's an all-time great, honorable mention. But just let's just be honest, DeMar DeRozan's never going to take his team to that next level. A really great player, going to be a multiple-time all-star, but just not that Mount Rushmore kind of player.
Yeah, and also a quick thing is that DeMar DeRozan, some would argue that he's almost the second best on his team. Who was the second best player on Tracy McGrady's team?
It depends on which ones. Like, you got Yao Ming in Houston.
Yeah, so my point is that he led the league in scoring just because he had no other go-to scorer. He didn't really have a great Robin to his Batman.
No, I
DeMar
agree.
DeRozan has Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, and when he did have Grant Hill in Orlando, he was injury prone.
Exactly.
He would play 20 games. He would have another ankle surgery. Then he would go see Wonder Woman and then have an ankle surgery. It was just over and over again. It was like, come on, Grant, just stay healthy. Okay, we got to go to the next one.
I got it.
Floor is yours.
I got it. He won my favorite player a ring in Miami.
Talking about Ray Allen.
That's exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Even though he's not known as a Miami Heat, he's known as a Boston Celtic or a Seattle Supersonic.
And he got drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks.
He was a high flyer on the Milwaukee Bucks. People today and millennials, how about the millennials, they only know him as a three-point shooter. But yeah, he was a high flyer. He is an all-time great player, a winning player. And even though he wasn't in his prime with the Miami Heat, what separates Ray Allen from a lot of other players, he may not have the best stats overall as in a career, but he was a winning player. Like, he knew his role on every team he was on, whether he was the go-to guy or in the Boston Celtics, he was maybe the 2 or 3 go-to guy. But he always hit big-time shots, and when he went to Miami Heat, I think that's where he deserves the most credit out of anything, and that's where people discredit him and say he's not loyal and it wasn't right. This is where I give him the most credit. When he went to the Miami Heat, that proved to me that he was so valuable, he was able to go to any team, not only just fit in that system, but it was essential for the Miami Heat to have Ray Allen because that big-time shot he hit off Chris Bosh is what started LeBron's legacy of winning championships. If it wasn't for him hitting that corner three, LeBron wouldn't have a ring. So what I love about Ray Allen is his mindset, his maturity, and his ability to win games and adjust to the system.
You kind of stole the words right out of my mouth.
That's why I wanted to go first.
All that I so agree on. And my analogy with Ray Allen, he's like my Chevy Equinox. There's so many things. Life is hectic. 2 kids run around the house. You're recording this. You got 1 kid wiping a diaper on this. You're making a lunch for this kid. I'm making a sales on a phone call on this. Life is so busy. And a basketball team is so hectic. Guys are injured. Guys are going left. One guy has a drug problem. One's this. But I get in my Chevy Equinox. The car starts. The air condition works perfect. And that's Ray Allen. He's always dependable. Night in, night out. You know what you're going to get. He's a good guy. He's a good teammate. And he is a top 3 NBA shooter of all time. Honorable mention, Ray Allen. Great career.
By the way, he did average 18 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal. His defense when he was young is definitely underrated and overlooked because of his great shot, but he was able to guard the perimeter elite players back in his heyday. So definitely an all-time great. I want to go to somebody, I don't even know if it may be off script.
It's like the show is 99% off script. We're locked in. Social media, Instagram and Twitter, locked_INN.
You said it.
Thank you.
This guy is compared to Ray Allen. Some think he is better, others do not. I personally think Ray Allen is a better player. Your favorite player, Dave. He destroyed your Knicks. I know you have to love him. Reggie Miller.
No comment.
Wow. So we're not even going to give him the respect that's due?
No comment.
Well, if you don't want to speak on him, let me speak on him real quick. Reggie Miller, I think he almost revolutionized the game where back in his day, the three-point shot wasn't what it is today. It wasn't even what Ray Allen was. Man.
Can we go to the next one?
At least have respect for Max on the mic.
All right, yeah. I'm sorry, Max. I'll let you go.
So as I was saying about Reggie Miller, he revolutionized the game because he...
Next! All right, no more. No, I'm an anti-Reggie Miller guy. I'm a die-hard New York Knicks fan. That was my childhood. Him hitting threes and making choke signs to Spike Lee in the Garden.
That was what I was going to say. Him hitting threes in an era where threes weren't as popular is insane. It's something that is overlooked. It's something that people don't really realize what he was doing in his time period. He wasn't as good as Michael Jordan, obviously, and I think he was almost overshadowed because of Michael Jordan, but he was a great player. He was gritty, talked trash, pulled up for threes on a fast break when you should go for the layup. I don't know who else has the guts to do that, because if you miss, you're out for the game. Reggie Miller is an all-time great, and he deserves all the respect in the world.
Kezo, there was something you said that will be a thread throughout this show. They were overshadowed by Michael Jordan.
Now,
that's a thread in the shooting guard Mount Rushmore.
In NBA.
Yeah, it happens. So, okay, we did Vince Carter. We talked about Tracy McGrady, two great shooters, Ray Allen and Reggie Miller. So those are our 4 honorable mentions. So we got 2 more real quickies before we get to the Mount Rushmore scoring guards. Like the first Mount Rushmore of point guards, we had a young riser, like Kyrie Irving. He's not in the Mount Rushmore, but he could be. If he continues his career, he's on the upswing. If he just keeps on playing well, doesn't get hurt, wins games, scoring, All-Stars, championships, Kyrie could be an all-time great. So we got in the studio. We talked about who is the young riser in the shooting guards for Mount Rushmore. And I think Max and I completely agree. Klay Thompson for the Golden State Warriors is our young riser.
Without a doubt. It was almost... I never want to use the word easy, because when you're analyzing talent in NBA players, you want to give everyone the respect they deserve and the attention. So we broke down every player. Klay Thompson is definitely the one. The thing about Klay Thompson, and overshadowed, I think, will be the word of today's show on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Locked In with 2 N's, because he is the third option right now, and even when Kevin Durant wasn't on the team, he was the second option. But Klay Thompson will go down, in my opinion, as the second greatest shooter of all time, second to Steph Curry, of course, for the Golden State Warriors. But he's 6'7" and is a great defender. He really contained and tired and fatigued Kyrie Irving in the finals. He guards the best wing players every time the Golden State Warriors need him. He's a very versatile defender, as well as a tremendous shooter who can also slash to the basket. And here's the biggest part that goes overlooked that no stat will ever show you, is his mindset and his willingness to win. He's able to step back, allow other players to blossom and elevate others, and take that back seat, not get all the attention, and will do what it takes to win. If that means takes less shots to play defense, so be it. If that means score 60 points with 7 or 11 dribbles, so be it. Break the NBA record for most points scored in a quarter. That's 37, isn't it, Dave?
Yep, Klay Thompson.
But here's the shadow on Klay. He already has 2 championships. I believe he'll at least get one more at the Golden State Warriors with the team they have assembled now. Most would think maybe 2 or 3, but I'm just going to say 1. That would give him 3 championships. What I think he would need to do after the 3rd championship would move to another team, and he would have to win the championship either as a 1 or a 2. But in today's game, I don't see Klay Thompson leading a team to a championship. His stats would go up because he takes more shots, but he'd have to be that 2 guy or that 3 guy. For example, if he went to the San Antonio Spurs, if he was that 2 guy to Kawhi Leonard and he won a championship, that would be 4 rings, and he won one without the Golden State Warriors, on top of his tremendous shooting, his great versatility on the defensive end, and his ability to win games. I think he would be on my Mount Rushmore if he wins 4 rings.
All right, Cuzzo. So, a player like Chris Paul. So just say if Klay Thompson goes to another team, like you said, San Antonio. So I will use that example. But what happened if Klay never, crosses that line? LaMarcus Aldridge is kind of busting. Maybe Kawhi Leonard never has that career year. Maybe he gets injury prone like the great Grant Hill did. And Klay Thompson never gets to that mountain again. Maybe one more Western Conference Finals, but never ever wins a big game again, a big finals game. But he's got the 2 or maybe 3 for Golden State, and that's all he gets. But he has a great career, scores more points, gets more All-Star games, all that. Is that more impressive? Or, this is, I'm going out there, it's hypothetical. He stays in Golden State. He's the third option. 100% agree with you. Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, 2 could be top 10 NBA players of all time. But what happened if they win 7, 8 championships? What if they go on this little Chicago Bull run that Michael Jeffrey Jordan did and win a 3-straighter? Does Klay Thompson, can he break through that Mount Rushmore chiseled stone door with a 7 or 8 NBA championships?
Absolutely. 110%. If he has 6 championships, he's on the Mount Rushmore. Forget about 7 or 8. 5 championships, he has to be considered on there.
Okay.
Because he may be the third scoring option, but he's the first defensive option. Or him and Draymond, you can argue. He's the first defensive option on the wing. And what he brings to the team, the way he stretches out the floor, his mentality, his unselfishness, is sometimes stats can't always describe or reflect.
Okay. I love it. Your answer was correct, like always.
Let's get it.
Okay, we're about to get into it. We're about to say Michael Jeffrey Jordan's name. He is the George Washington of Mount Rushmore, the greatest player ever, the greatest shooting guard ever. We're about to get it. But we got something up our sleeve. We got a trickster. We got a tricky player. We have a tricky name, and we dot the I's. We cross the T's here at Locked In. James Harden, the beard. We were writing down. We were going over. We were getting locked in and ready, and James Harden's name came up. For 7 years, he was a shooting guard, a really, really good shooting guard, maybe a young riser. Maybe he would have been our young riser over Klay Thompson. But his last 2 seasons, his best 2 seasons ever in the NBA, back-to-back MVP candidate. I think he got second and then third. Houston Rockets, better seasons than, they thought they would have. James Harden's been an excellent player the last 2 seasons, but at point guard. So he started the career at shooting guard. Now he has his greatest seasons ever at point guard. Max, where do you see him at? Can he make it to a Mount Rushmore at point guard ever? Can he make it to a Mount Rushmore in scoring guard? Or is it one of those, he's just that tweener, he's just that guy who just never can make a Mount Rushmore for either one because he wasn't great enough or exceeded or excelled high enough at the position?
That's a great question. We spoke with our producer, Sean. Shout out to Sean, the producer for Locked In with 2 N's about this, and he made a great point about the combo guard.
He's a handsome devil, that guy.
You just have to top me. You just have to overachieve, don't you?
My whole life I've been overachieving, Max.
Well, here's my point. Today's game is different. There's a whole bunch of hybrids. Like you look at Draymond Green, he's listed as a power forward, but he'll guard shooting guards, he'll guard centers, but he's like 6'9". He's actually probably shorter than that. He's shorter than Kevin Durant. My point is there's a lot of hybrids, a lot of crossover guards. So if James Harden wants to be on a Mount Rushmore for each category, he has to pick a position. I think his 2 best seasons, as you stated, are as a point guard for the Houston Rockets. He had historical seasons. He finished second MVP voting, I believe, both times to Steph Curry for the Golden State Warriors and Russell Westbrook for the Oklahoma City Thunder, who averaged a triple-double. Even though James Harden had my vote both seasons. He's showing signs of improving. He's progressing. He's becoming smarter. The way he passes the ball, becoming a better leader, just not forcing shots, being more efficient. He's elevating others. James Harden, in my opinion, is an all-time talent. But the question is, will he have the hardware to make him an all-time great player? Because you have to have hardware. Tracy McGrady's an all-time great talent, but he doesn't have the hardware. He didn't win. So now with Chris Paul going to the Houston Rockets, if James Harden shifts to that shooting guard position, so now he's listed back to a 2, and he succeeds, I believe he could be on the Mount Rushmore just off of his talent if he can win a championship as a 2 position. He is an all-time great talent. You have to give him that.
Oh, definitely. He's unbelievable. He elevates his teammates. He's a great passer, great shooter. He's got one of those moves every decade that's just like unguardable. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's got the sky hook. James Harden's got that fancy step back left-hand shot.
Smooth.
The beard, right? I give it up to James Harden, an NBA great. Could be a possible Mount Rushmore candidate in the future.
I want my credit. I was on the James Harden bandwagon before he was James Harden. I said feared the beard even when you just completely destroyed him. He's inefficient, never change. He's not a leader. He's not a winning player. What happened last season? Okay, even though they didn't win the championship, he proved a lot of doubters wrong.
Like the great Jim Carrey once said, oh, shit. All right.
That's yes, by the way, folks.
Mount Rushmore, here we go. The top 4 greatest shooting guards ever. Number 1, no surprise, no drum roll needed, Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
From North Carolina, at guard, 6'6", Michael Jordan.
I don't think any stats are needed to describe him. If you look at the stats, all-time great numbers, without a doubt. I don't even need any. Here at Locked In, we come prepared. We do our prep work. We have papers. We have stats. We have points we want to hit. With Michael Jeffrey Jordan, I don't need those papers.
Yeah,
That's
like,
how you know how great he is.
It doesn't matter. Like the 3rd year, he averaged 37.1 points a game, right? It just doesn't matter. And it matters like his 5th year when he averaged 8 points and 8 assists in the same season. But who needs to know that information?
My point is 6 championships.
No, he's unbelievable.
6-0 in the finals, 6 finals MVPs, all-time leading scorer in points per game averaged. Just clutch, transcendent. His defense on the perimeter. He can jump. He could score in the post. He can pass. Michael Jordan could do it all. And I don't think there's any... People say he's the greatest of all time in the league. And now I would say that's probably 70% of the people. He's definitely the best shooting guard. That is hands down, no question. Everybody has Michael Jordan number 1.
And there's just really 2 important facts that I want to talk about Michael Jordan. First, he's averaged over 30 points a game in the NBA postseason 12 times. Not once or not twice. 12 times he averaged over 30 points throughout the whole postseason. And you know the Bulls were playing multiple playoff games, multiple series against the best teams in the league. He is an unbelievable player.
Greatest scorer of all time.
And the second fact I really need to hammer home. How amazing was he in Space Jam? He defeated the monsters. He saved the planet. That's how important Michael Jordan is.
Space Jam's pretty important.
I'm telling you, right? I got my facts down. But the All-Star games, he was the Rookie of the Year. He was a 9-time All-Defensive First Team. 3-time NBA All-Star Game MVP. He's so good, the Chicago Bulls retired his number. The Miami Heat retired his number. The University of North Carolina retired his number. Michael Jordan, easily the greatest shooting guard ever. Case closed.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Number 2 on the Mount Rushmore of shooting guards.
A 5-time NBA champion, 2-time Finals MVP, 18-time All-Star, and the 3rd leading scorer in NBA history. Ladies and gentlemen, number 24, Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bean Bryant.
Ooh, I accept.
Kobe Bryant was drafted out of high school. He was, in 1996, round 1, pick 13th overall. Isn't that ironic? He was selected by the Charlotte Hornets, obviously traded to the Los Angeles Lakers.
Quiz. Who did he get traded for?
Ooh, that's actually a good one. I know it's definitely people that aren't as good as him.
He got traded for one person, and his name is Vlade Divac.
I would not have guessed that. I'm sorry.
Now the general manager of the Sacramento Kings. And, I'm going to tell my age right now. I remember when that trade happened. And a lot of the reporters, a lot of the sports people thought the Hornets won the trade. Because Vlade Divac was a really good center. You kind of knew what you were getting, Max. He was just a great passer. He was a part of those Sacramento Kings team that helped Chris Webber, take his game to the next level. Vlade Divac was a great player. And what? You were just getting another high school kid who could be good. You know what I mean? It was just more of a question mark.
The thing,
He became the second greatest shooting guard in the history of the league.
yeah, he's definitely in the top 10 all time as well. Kobe Bryant is a mirror image of Michael Jordan. Obviously, he's not Michael Jordan, but if Michael Jordan had a son, well, he did have a son, it's Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant literally reflected everything Michael Jordan did. He did faders just like Mike. He even stuck his tongue out sometimes. He wore the calf sleeves like Michael. He studied Michael Jordan's moves. He talked to Michael Jordan behind the scenes. He had the that Mamba mentality. Kobe, the Mamba. That killer mentality is something that a stat doesn't show as well. Kobe, whether he was behind the freaking half-court line, he wants to shoot that shot. Kobe Bryant, not only his mentality, had 5 championships. 2 final MVPs when Shaq left. He also had... This is actually surprising. I thought he would have more, but I knew it going in.
Okay.
He only had 1 regular season MVP. So when you compare greats, you always nitpick on who had what. That's definitely a blemish on his career.
You know why I think, honestly? He was so great. For one, he was kind of overlooked or overshadowed. People take greatness for granted too much. And this is called a spade. He was on the same team as the great Shaquille O'Neal. He played against Tim Duncan. These are 2 all-time great top 10, top 12 players too. So he was just in the wrong era. It's one of those things. And he kind of had like a roller coaster career.
Yeah, not really. I don't want to say not consistent because he was always great, but he was up and down as far as, okay, championship, rebuild the Lakers when Shaq left. I know Tim Duncan was just straight playoffs, championship, playoffs, championship. Here we go. What do you think he averaged for a career?
I know the ending wasn't great for him.
Mm-hmm.
I would guess 26.2.
25.
Okay.
Not bad. Obviously not bad.
That was close.
25, 5 rebounds per game, and
nice.
4.7 assists per game.
Yeah. I'm going to do facts. I did it for Jordan. I'm going to do it for Kobe. The 2 things I love about Kobe Bryant. For one, his first 5, 7, 8 years in the league, he was the best defender in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Kawhi Leonard, Draymond Green, people kind of forget how great of a defender, a locked down defender Kobe Bryant was. Then, it happens. You become more of a scorer. You become more of the go-to guy in offense, and it happens your defense does...
less effort on the defensive end.
Exactly. That's that. And then number 2, people talk about it all the time, Kyrie Irving. He just has that killer instinct.
I hit that. That's the first thing I said before any stat.
I'm jumping on it. It's just... And I love that. Like I do. He has a winning mentality. He'll choke your grandson to just get a W on a Wednesday night in Milwaukee.
Did that relate to his off-court issues?
Oh my gosh, I wasn't going to take it there, Max. This is a PG show, folks. I'm so sorry. The win and take, I'm sorry. This we'll make it up to you. But Kobe Bryant will do whatever it takes, like the Imagine Dragons, and will do whatever it takes to win games.
Before we move on, Kobe Bryant, he scored 81 points on the Toronto Raptors. We mentioned the Raptors a lot with Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, DeMar DeRozan, those players of that caliber mentioned. 81 points, guys. The second most points in NBA history in one game, second behind Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
You know who guarded him for most of that game?
The whole team plus their coach in the stands.
Well, I'm breaking it down. Jalen Rose was guarding him for most of that game in the
guy that's
Toronto
on
Raptors.
TNT?
He's not on TNT. He's
Oh,
ESPN
no, that's the
boy.
ESPN.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kenny the Jet Smith.
That fake broadcasting network up there in Connecticut.
Taking shots. We are podcasting.
But I just remember he was dominating Jalen Rose. But then how about Kobe Bryant's last game, Max? Versus Utah versus Gordon Hayward. Just chucking shots all night long. Almost getting traded, the off-court issues. With all that being said, still the number 2 greatest shooting guard ever.
One blemish I really do not like about Kobe Bryant, the way he ended his career was selfish. I'm just going to call it how it is. You know, we tell the public, the viewers, the listeners, which we are extremely thankful for, the truth. The max contract, he took the max amount of money he could possibly take, limiting the Lakers to what they could do as far as maneuvering pieces and acquiring other pieces. He took all the money, all the cap space was taken off just for his last couple of years, really hindered and handicapped the Lakers. Don't respect that.
Okay, Max, real quick. I'm getting a phone call. 1 second, Max.
All right.
Oh, wait, it's Fox Sports 1, Max. Hold up. Oh, they're offering you an $8 million deal.
Does Dave come with me?
Yes.
All right, let's go.
But you have to, you can't work tomorrow. You have to say goodbye to your old employer.
Dave, you are my employer. You're coming with me.
But my point is, what I'm trying to get at, you can't hate the man for taking money. They offered him the money. They offered him the contract.
Okay, I'm just saying if you really have the best interest for that organization, you would look at the future as he always does.
I agree that's a part of it, but don't you want to have the best interest for you and your family and your loved ones and your friends?
What did Tim Duncan do?
He's a better player than Kobe. Next.
Anyway, the third
right.
best shooting guard on our Mount Rushmore.
We agree on this one, right? We're 100%?
Of course. Do you want to say his name or do I?
You go first. Dwayne Wade!
And number 3,
All right, Dwayne Wade from the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
All-time great. I want you to take this one. I think you could represent Dwayne Wade very well.
I love Dwayne Wade. He was from the University of Marquette. I remember he was the 5th pick of the draft, and I wanted the Knicks to get him so bad. I think the Knicks were picking 7th. And I was like, I was so hoping he would drop 2 more picks. I loved him in the tournament.
Best draft class of all time.
Agree. But Dwayne Wade, it still kind of irks me that he's in Chicago. I'm just going to call a spade right off the bat. Mm-hmm. He is Miami. He is Dade County. And Miami's always been a good organization too, but the same kind of what Vince did, Dwayne just took it to the next level. He elevated Miami to a championship contender for a decade straight. When Shaq got there, Shaq was arguably the best player on the team. But what Dwayne Wade accomplished in that NBA Finals against the Dallas Mavericks is something I will never forget. It was one of the greatest finals accomplishments or run, however you want to say it. It was unbelievable. I'm still in shock and awe. He's a 3-time NBA champion, all of them in Miami. He's a great player, a great defender, real gutty guy. He was never a great 3-point shooter, but, he's the 3rd best ever. Matches his jersey. Dwayne Wade, one of the all-time greats.
Another winning player. He did what it took to win games. And what I was most impressed about him, and people, you could probably see this as a trend of mine, I don't look at stats as the first thing at what defines a great player, because stats can lie. Stats can lie as far as you're down 20 points and all of a sudden the other team's not playing defense as much and you score 10 straight. That's not a deserved 10 points. That's not impacting the game. Dwayne Wade, when he took a step back for LeBron James to take over the team, is a winning player type move. It's an all-time great time move. He took a step back so LeBron James can flourish and take over the Miami Heat because he knew that's what it took to win a championship. LeBron James was the best player, but Dwayne Wade had every right to say, hey, no, this is my team. I want to be that guy and take credit because he was Miami first. The Miami Heat fans enjoyed him more because he won that first championship for them without LeBron, but he knew LeBron James was the future. So he took a step back. He still played a pivotal role in those championships, don't get me wrong, but LeBron James was that guy. That's my first huge takeaway from Dwayne Wade, his ability to impact the game not only on the court, but just to make winning decisions off and on the court. Secondly, as you mentioned, his all-time great finals performance really defines his legacy as far as winning a championship without LeBron and just taking over in a big-time moment where the spotlight's the biggest, the lights are the brightest. He took over and did what it took to win. Thirdly is his defense, completely underrated. Everybody talks about Dwayne Wade's ability to finish at the rim, his post game, his mid-range. His defense, he's 6'4". I think he is the best shot-blocking guard of all time.
1,000% agree. That was one of my 2 notes. That's my 2 shockers.
You know, we think alike. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take it from you, but his defense is completely underrated. His ability to guard players that are bigger than him is amazing. It's because he used his mind over his size. He positions himself, even to this day with his older age, he positions himself to succeed. Okay, this guy's bigger than me. If I position myself over here, it will give me a step up above him. So just the way he thinks up as far as mental instead of all the physical attributes in basketball is absolutely amazing. He's a great player, consistent. He's not aging as well as LeBron. I think that's something that could affect his career and his legacy. But, of course, no doubts, he is number 3 on our shooting guard Mount Rushmore.
All right, my 2 notes. For one, it's kind of crazy. He never won a Most Valuable Player award.
Yeah, that is crazy, but at the same time, you think about who's in the league while he's in his prime. You have LeBron James, and then you had Kobe Bryant when he won that one.
Exactly. That's ready. He's only been a 2-time first All-NBA scoring guard. And he's like Mount Rushmore, the best scoring guard ever, but he's only won it twice. Mm-hmm. And I looked into it. Yeah, Kobe Bryant, Tracy McGrady, even Gilbert Arenas was up there one year. Like
LeBron won one year too, right?
But he's small forward.
For shooting you're just defining it just for shooting guards.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, like, you got to think about how unbelievable of a player he was, and he was so unselfish. He's got that grit too. I love that about him. But never an MVP, not a lot of All-NBA. But I'm going with you, Max. I'm giving you this one. Sometimes it's not about stats or accolades or awards. You watch him play, what he's done for Miami, what he's done for the community. He's an all-time great, the 3rd best shooting guard in the history of the league.
Agreed here.
All right. Let's go. The
number 4.
The 4th.
On our Mount Rushmore.
I go first or you go first?
You may need to bring out the buzzer on this one.
Okay. Because you have one answer, and I got another answer.
This is where it's going to get very interesting.
Okay.
I want you to go first.
All right.
I want you to explain to the public that are listening, who we're so thankful for. Don't forget to hit that download and subscribe button on iTunes or Stitcher Radio. Locked in, 2 N's. Anyway, you explain to the viewers and the listeners why your person deserves to be on there, and then I'll tell you why you're wrong. I'll break it down, I'll nitpick on the details, and then explain my point of view. So the floor is all yours, no interruptions, no interjections.
The logo.
As I was saying, no, I'm playing. Go ahead.
That's my thing. That's my gimmick. Stop saying I'm podcasting. That's my thing. The 4th greatest shooting guard of all time is Jerry West. Jerry West, the logo of the National Basketball Association, was drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers, the number 2 pick overall. Jerry West made it to the NBA Finals more times than any player of the last 20 years. LeBron James, Robert Horry, Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen. Jerry West, the Los Angeles Lakers, was never like Boston. Boston has always been the go-to, the champion team of the league. What Jerry West built with Elgin Baylor, Will Chamberlain, other great players too. It wasn't just Jerry. Mr. Clutch. Like the logo, Mr. Clutch. What other analogies you want me to get? You know he had the first quadruple double? 44 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists, and before it was even a stat, he had 10 blocks. How about this, Max? The first and only player, not even LeBron James's triple-double in the NBA Finals. Not even 3 years ago when he was obviously the best player on the court when they lost to the Warriors when Kyrie and Kevin Love was hurt. Jerry West won the NBA Finals MVP, the most valuable player in a losing effort. They lost that finals and he was still the MVP. He is an NBA's champion. He's a 14-time NBA All-Star. He's an All-Star MVP. Dwayne Wade was a 2-time All-NBA first team. Jerry West is a 10-time All-NBA first team. A 4-time All-Defensive team. The scoring champion in 1970. And then I'm not even going to get into how amazing he is as an NBA executive. Champion the Lakers again with trading for Kobe Bryant. Getting Shaquille O'Neal there in town. And then after a decade of dominance, 15 years of dominance, he goes across the state and joins the Golden State Warriors. Keeps Klay Thompson over trading them for Kevin Love. Makes great signings and free agents with Iggy and drafting Draymond Green. Jerry West, one of the smartest NBA players of all time, on and off the court. Mic drop.
You're gonna need more than that, cuzzo. It's gonna look like Floyd versus Connor in the trash talk. I'm Connor.
Shoot, I wanted it so bad.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna break it down to everyone listening on why it's Clyde Drexler. Dave, when we played, now this is no disrespect to you or the people that play at Saturday at Silver Sands basketball.
Wait. When you start a sentence with saying no disrespect, you're gonna disrespect.
No, hear me out. So we play Saturday, pickup games, we're balling out, doing our thing. Go to 16, I may score 13 points. Win or lose, I score 13 points. If I am shooting my shots on right, I'm playing to my best ability. If I were to go to a college game with a college atmosphere with players that play every day, playing Division I basketball games, I myself have confidence in my ability where I could at least play on the court, but I'm not scoring 13 points out of 16 points. I'd probably score like 2, 3, maybe 4 if I get some open looks because I'm a shooter. But the impact I had on Saturday basketball game with you is, wow, the way I impacted that atmosphere, that group of people was a bigger impact. You know what I mean? It is a bigger impact. But I'm the same player playing in against the college players. I'm not as good. And this is what I mean by that. Jerry West, his impact on the NBA is greater than Clyde Drexler's. Just because of his...
The show's got to end, folks. Sorry, have a great night.
His era, what he meant to his era is more than what Clyde Drexler meant. But as far as a better player, Clyde Drexler is hands down a better player. If they were to play in the same gym at the same time, like you said with Jason Kidd and John Stockton, Clyde Drexler is a hands down better player. He's more athletic. He's taller, plays much better defense. He's an underrated passer, averaging 6 assists per game, on top of 6 rebounds and 20 points. Extremely athletic, above the rim, was gritty, talked trash, wanted to guard the best player. So he affected the game in just more than scoring and athleticism. Dave, I know you want to say something, but this is my floor. Go ahead.
Can I jump in, please?
No, hold on.
Okay.
After this, no. Go ahead.
We're talking about Mount Rushmore, and you're talking about like a different age, right? Like you're talking about Jerry West, old school, kind of new school to Clyde Drexler. Barack Obama, one of the greatest presidents of all time. His speeches were amazing, outstanding.
Yeah, greatest speaker of all time.
He had the internet. He had people writing for him. He had different ways to practice it. So George Washington, the first president of the United States of America, didn't have all this technology and different people writing for him and Google imaging to get the picture or the facts that he wanted. You get my analogy a little bit?
I get it, but
So Jerry
isn't-
West is George Washington, Clyde
Life-
Drexler is Barack Obama.
The thing is, life isn't fair. The results are what they are. Whether you have the ingredients to succeed or not, I'm going with the finished product no matter what got you the finished product.
NBA Finals MVP. The logo.
By the way, you mentioned one ring, but he went to the finals how many times?
9 or 10.
Oh, okay. Clyde Drexler went once and won one ring. Or did he go twice?
He went twice. He lost to Michael Jeffrey
Oh,
Jordan.
but he also won one championship, so rings are
on the
technically the same.
coattails of Akeem Olajuwon.
My point being is Jerry West had a greater impact on the game, but as far as a better player, Clyde Drexler, you can't teach athleticism. You can get in the weight room, become stronger, yes. You can have better drills, better nutrition, yes. But sometimes it's just God-given talent where LeBron James was born with insane athleticism. Clyde Drexler was born with insane athleticism that Jerry West could do 100,000 push-ups every day. He will never jump as high as Clyde Drexler. He will never be able to be as quick as Clyde Drexler. Well, could he have improved? Yes. But he was balling against some people who had secondary jobs, players who weren't fully committed. There was a handful of good players. You just said Clyde Drexler lost to arguably the most considered the greatest player of all time, number one on our shooting guard, Mount Rushmore, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. So his one loss was to the GOAT. My point being, all in all, to sum everything up, Jerry West's impact was transcendent. But as far as talent, like I said, me playing at Silver Sands, 13 out of 16 points. Me playing in Division I basketball, maybe 3 or 4 points. My impact changes, but I'm still that same player. Clyde Drexler is a better player, but didn't have the same impact on the NBA. That is why I'm putting the 4 best shooting guards on Mount Rushmore. The 4 best. Clyde Drexler is better than Jerry West as a player.
All the board. All right, people. Come
Quick,
join
one
the
more thing.
movement.
One more thing.
Yes, sir.
Last point. It just came to me. In a PAL league, right? Just say we're hypothetical world, Dave.
Yes, sir.
You say you are a completely better player than me, but I win. But in my league, I dominate the league more than you dominate your league. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make me a better player than you. That just means the people that I was playing, I was able to dominate. Doesn't make me a better player than you just because I accomplished more in that league.
I'm about to tear you up, boy. You said 2 or
Vice
3
versa.
times different league, different PAL league, or Silver Sands to Division I.
You're gonna say same league.
They both played in the National Basketball Association.
Man, but you know that doesn't relate
They
because
played
Will
in the same
Chamberlain
league.
averaged 15-25. If it was the same type of league and the same rules, people would say he's the GOAT, but they don't because you have to take in perspective on who he was playing and what the rule set was.
Jerry West played against not maybe the greatest dynasty in NBA history, the Boston Celtics, with 8 Hall of Famers, 5 Hall of Famers starting, Bill Russell, Red Auerbach, the greatest team in the history of the league. That's
I
what
could
Jerry
argue
West
that.
had to deal with. Clyde Drexler couldn't even win a championship. He had to beg Michael Jordan to go play baseball for the Chicago White Sox to go get a ring. Clyde, come after me. Grayson Allen, you made it. I let you go. LeVar Ball, slide off. I don't got enough time for you. Clyde Drexler, if you want some of me, come at me. At David Van Auken on Instagram and Twitter.
Are you talking about Bill Russell, the same guy in that era who coached his team while he played? Or are you talking about when there was only a handful of teams and there was no free agency so the best players can just stay on one team and not move? Or are you comparing that to Michael Jordan, the greatest team of all time, where he went 72-10 with the greatest player, with the greatest wingman in Scottie Pippen, with Dennis Rodman, who goes over to North Korea with Kim Jong-un and has lunch? Is that who you're comparing this to?
So this podcast had K. Young Jung and Barack Obama. This might be the best podcast yet.
I think we should put a poll up on Twitter, locked in with 2 N's, Jerry West or Clyde Drexler.
I concur. Let's check us out on Twitter, locked in. Also, guys, we got the brand new Facebook page. Check us out, facebook.com, #locked in podcast. All right. It's that time. Max, you ready to get locked in, or do you have anything else off your chest? Do you want to talk about August 10th and the brand new Locked In Live podcast too, with Pete White, the MMA coach, and Anderson, the Superman Hutchinson. Do you want to talk about that, Cuzzo?
Anderson Hutchison will be a superstar. And I do want to talk about that. It will be the greatest event Locked In has ever put on, and the greatest event you viewers and listeners will attend and enjoy.
And I want to keep this movement going. August 18th, he is fighting live. He's fighting his tail off in Fort Lauderdale. Make the drive, make the plane trip, get your reservations in now. Check Expedia.com. Go make the trip. Let's support Ando. Let's support Pete White. Let's support Locked In Sports Podcast.
Quick tease. Dave and I are unique. We like to get our nose into things that we're involving ourselves with. We're completely committed. We are locked into what we do. We went into the gym. We saw what they do, the people that we're interviewing. That's my tease. I'm going to leave it not too much into there. Let's just say we were impressed. 110. We were just blown away with the gym, the hard work, the family atmosphere, how dedicated they are, what their goals are, how nice they are, just the friendly environment where it's a sweaty gym where people are fighting and beating up each other, but it felt like a family, and it felt like I would want my family to go there and train. It's a unique, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a unique environment to have. Atmosphere to be able to train as hard as you do, but yet still be so welcoming. So definitely check out their gym.
Their gym is like the movie Guardians of the Galaxy.
I was going to say Rocky because it's like the fight world, but how is it like the Guardians of the Galaxy?
Unexpected, but it's amazing. You can't keep your eyes off of it, and I loved every second of it.
What? It's like the Guardians of the Galaxy. You can't keep your eyes off it. It's unexpected.
Thank you. I'm here all night.
Let's
but
get
actually,
locked in.
we got to get going. We're about to go over the hour limit. Let's get locked in, Max. You go first.
Dave, you have to go first because we've kind of talked about this. We don't necessarily always like to tell each other our locked-ins, but mine's similar to yours. But you had your idea first, so I want you to go first.
That's so nice of you. You're such a great person.
I got to do what I got to do on and off the mic.
My locked in is this. We're talking about Mount Rushmore scoring guards, shooting guards. The Mount Rushmore of Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, and the logo, Jerry West.
Clyde Drexler.
My Mount Rushmore will not change for 20 years. This is it. Chiseled them in granite. These four competitors, athletes, players will remain my Mount Rushmore. Jordan, Bryant, Wade, West.
That was fantastic, but my locked in with two N's, iTunes and Stitcher Radio, is the complete opposite of yours. My locked in will have
All four of them are changed?
No, 3 of them are solidified, but that 4th spot will be taken over.
Uh-oh. It is, you are right, it is a kind of easy spot to take over because you got Clyde Drexler.
No, I got Jerry West in there, so I mean, if we beat up a couple school teachers, we may be up there.
Dave, you got
I
me.
have Klay Thompson, when it's all said and done, will be up there.
Wow, I love that.
Just because of his shooting ability and his ability to win games, and if he gets a couple more championships, which I think they really will, especially if LeBron James leaves Cleveland, that's another topic for another show. The Golden State Warriors are looking united. Everyone re-signed. They're young. They're in their prime. If they continue to win championships, I'm putting Klay up there. So when it's all said and done, my locked in, Klay Thompson will be on the Mount Rushmore of shooting guards. Number 4.
Okay, Mount Rushmore. Last question of the night. How many championships will Klay Thompson end up with?
He has 2 now, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, boy. That's tough. I think if LeBron James wins a championship this year, Golden State may win the next 1 or 2 years. My final locked in, I'm going to say he ends up with... that's tough, Dave.
We asked the tough questions here. No cookies allowed.
I'm going to say 4 championships.
Wow. he might make it.
Yeah, I think he's going to have 4 championships because if he wins one with the Warriors, you never know what happens. A shooter can always adapt and go to a later team in their career where he's a valuable asset as far as just shooting, like Ray Allen did the Miami Heat. I feel like he can go to another team when he's a little older and win a championship.
All right, Max, we're at that time. Let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening. Definitely check us out on YouTube, Facebook, iTunes. Check us out anywhere. Just open your computer up. Right in, locked in. We'll talk to you soon. And like always, stay locked in.
That's when it's back to the lab again, yo. This old rhapsody better go capture this moment and hope it don't